Hello AAG students. I am going to read through some directions and get you guys going with your quiz on Unit 9 Part 1, Prisms and Cylinders, with a focus on surface area and volume. All right, so now listen, ladies and gentlemen, I want to keep this really simple. You're going to turn in two things, all right? One of them is going to be this PDF that you're going to open up, you're going to write on, and then the second thing is also going to be the Edpuzzle video. So here's how it's going to work. You're going to go over to Google Classroom. You're going to open up the PDF that says, Unit 9, Part 1, Quiz, Edpuzzle. You're going to write and take your notes on that PDF as if it was like a homework assignment, right? You're going to go back and forth between the Edpuzzle video and writing your work on the PDF. When you're finished with the Edpuzzle video, you watch it all the way to the very end. That will automatically submit. The other thing you're going to do is you're going to go back to Google Classroom and you're going to save and submit your PDF with all of your work on it. So here we go. I'm going to read the directions and we're going to get started. For this quiz, be sure to write down all calculations. You may write on the PDF digitally using your iPad, or you may use the paper form. People at home, if you want to print, you can use paper if you want, but you're going to have to take pictures. I highly recommend you guys use your iPad so that you can use highlighters and different colored pens and organize your work that way. So let's keep it going. PDFs can be found in the classwork section on Google Classroom titled Unit 9 Part 1 Quiz Edpuzzle. You can save your progress and submit it digitally the way we have been doing all year long. However, if you're home and you want to print, you can use a paper form, but you're going to have to take pictures of each page and submit them on Google Classroom. All right, guys? So I think you're better off using your iPad. Regardless, you'll need to submit your writing on Google Classroom for proof that you are actually doing the work. As you proceed through the video, guys, this is important. Listen, as you proceed through the video, you should fix any mistakes that you make to be successful for the questions that follow. All right, so if you get one wrong, fix it, because the next question might use that answer again. All right, so here we go. Let's get started. Here is question number 1. Classify the solid and be specific. This is an oblique pentagonal prism. Why is it oblique? Well, it's crooked, right? It's not standing straight up. Why pentagonal? The bases are 5 sides. And why is it a prism? Because it has 2 bases. Nowhere were we told that the bases are perfect or equilateral or equiangular, so we would not include the word regular. Part B, how many vertices does the solid have? This prism has 10 vertices. I've used green dots to indicate all of the 10 corners. Part C, how many lateral edges does the solid have? This solid has 5 lateral edges. Guys, if you notice to the right, I have used green highlighters to indicate the 5 lateral edges. Part D, which of the following is a lateral face? Okay, we're going to have to use the force on this one. The lateral face is going to be JEDI. Part E, how many total faces are there on the solid? There are 7 total faces on the solid. They're going to be 5 lateral faces and the 2 bases highlighted in yellow. Which brings us to our last question here, Part F. Which formula would you use to find the lateral area of this solid? Now for this, it's just really, you just go head over to your formula sheet, you find lateral area in the columns, and then you want to match it up with a prism. So LA equals PH. Question number 2. The prism below is a right regular triangular prism with a base perimeter of 30 inches and a height of 18 inches. Find each of the following values in exact form. All right, really important. Exact. So no decimals here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so let's just go back and retrace our steps here from the directions. So first and foremost, they tell us it's a right regular triangular prism, which means the bases are perfect triangles, which means they're equilateral. So guys, a little hint here for us is going to be, hey, each of these bases is an equilateral triangle, which means each of their angles are 60 degrees. 60, 60, 60. So hint, hint. When you draw the height of this triangle, it's going to split them up into very special triangles. Okay, so what I'd like you to do here is take your time. They did tell us that the perimeter of each base is 30. So let's think, 30 divided by 3 is going to give us 10 on a side, right? So what I'd like you to do first here is, let's find the exact area of one base. All right, now if you want, guys, you can use this, extra picture down here of this equilateral triangle. Good luck finding the area of one triangle. Okay, take a look at the view of the base, right? So this is a 30, 60, 90 set of triangles. So let me just zoom in real quick. The side lengths are each 10. However, when you draw your height, the bottom is going to be split in half, 5 and 5. And then your height, using the 30, 60, 90 special right triangle rules, will be 5 radical 3. All right, so the answer for part A is going to be 25 radical 3 inches squared. Ladies and gentlemen, if you got this question wrong, don't get discouraged, right? You missed this one question, but fix it, because we are going to use 25 radical 3 again later on. All right, so speaking of which, let's move on. For part B, let's find the exact lateral area of the prism. The lateral area of the prism is going to be used or found using the formula LA equals PH. The perimeter of the base is 30. The height is 18. Be careful. Take a look over here on this diagram, ladies and gentlemen. I know that it doesn't look like the height, but remember, this is knocked over. It's kind of toppled over. Picture standing this entire prism up on its triangles, on its bases. 18 would be how tall it is. So your lateral area is going to be 540 inches squared. All right. Again, if you missed this, guys, just fix it. All right. We're going to use it in the next couple questions. Let's move on to part C. Find the exact surface area. So go to your formula sheets, find your formula, and let's substitute your values. Okay, surface area is going to be found by using LA plus 2 capital B's. But guys, be careful. We already just found the lateral area in the previous example, and we know that one of the bases is 25 radical 3. So your final surface area will be 540 plus 50 radical 3. Oh, and I forgot my label. That should be inches squared. All right, that brings us to our last question. The volume. Please find the volume of the entire prism. The volume of the prism is going to be 450 radical 3 inches cubed. All right, guys, let's not forget, we're going to use our formulas for volume. Just go to your sheet, find your formula, and now let's substitute the values that we had. The area of one base was 25 radical 3. The height of the prism is 18. Therefore, our final volume is 450 radical 3 inches cubed. Question number 3 involves a cylinder, a right cylinder to be more specific. It has a base circumference of 20 pi inches squared. Now that is wrong. We're going to scribble that out and we're going to say that it has a base circumference of 20 pi inches, not inches squared, it's not area. And it has a height of 30 inches. All right, so now let's go label a few things, boys and girls. So here's what I'm going to say. The height of the cylinder is 30 inches. Now, the circumference of one of the bases is 20 inches. So, guys, I'm going to make a little checklist here. Circumference is 20 pi inches. Now, if the circumference is 20, then what is the diameter? The diameter is going to be 20 inches. While we're at it, let's divide that by 2 for the radius. So let's now take a look at part A. It says, let's fill in all information on the net. All right, so guys, let's do this. Ready? So I'm going to draw this first, which would be the radius. So I'm going to label that with a 10. I'm going to draw a full diameter, and I'm going to label that 20. I'm also going to take the height 30 and put that next to each of these sides. So that leaves us with a really important question here. We talked about this in the last class. What is the length of the rectangle? If you remember correctly, the length of this rectangle is going to be the circumference. So that's going to be 20 pi inches. All right, remember, the top of this rectangle was once wrapped around the circumference of the circle. Okay, now that we have our net fully labeled, and we got a nice little checklist over here, let's move on to part B. Ladies and gentlemen, what is the exact area of one base? The area of one base is going to be 100 pi inches squared. Now, think about it, guys. The base is a circle. It's a perfect circle, so we're going to use the formula pi radius squared. Okay. Part C. What is the exact lateral area? Once again, we go right to our formula sheet. We find our lateral area part of a cylinder, which is 2 pi RH. We substitute the radius is 10, the height is 30. Therefore, our lateral area is 600 pi inches squared. Okay, moving on to our last two parts here. What is the exact surface area of the entire cylinder? The exact surface area of the cylinder is going to be 800 pi inches squared. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just to be clear here, we have the surface area, the lateral area was 600 pi from the previous question. And then one base area is 100 pi. We have two of them. Therefore, 800 pi is our exact surface area. Okay, our final question for this cylinder, for this right cylinder, is what is the exact volume? Our exact volume will be found using the formula V equals pi r squared h. All right, just make sure you're squaring the r before you multiply by h, okay? So radius squared was 100 pi, which was the area of the base, multiplied by 30 tall will give us 3,000 pi inches cubed. Okay, this brings us to question number 4. The prism below has a regular hexagonal base with a perimeter of 84 inches and a height of 50 inches. Part A, find the exact area of one base. All right, guys, I'm going to give you a couple hints here, right? So please follow along. Now, since it's a regular hexagonal base, all right, I'm going to just say this base is over here so I can draw and write on it. So it says it has a base perimeter of 84 inches. So let's take 84 divided by 6, and that's going to give us 14. So we have 14 units on a side. All right, now I want you to remember something really important. Yes, this whole base will be 14, but whenever we're going to find the area of any polygon, we break it up into triangles. So I'm going to find the area of this triangle, and then hopefully we're going to multiply it by 6, right? Because there will be 6 of them. Now we have to remember that it's a regular hexagon. Therefore, each of these angles here are 120 all the way around. So guess what this angle is? It's going to be half of that 120. So this turns out to be a nice equilateral triangle. Okay? So boys and girls, let's remember that we just split this equilateral triangle up into 30, 60, 90 special right triangle rules. Right? Don't forget. Right? In your special right triangle rules, you're going to have 2x, you're going to have x, and you're going to have x radical 3. So there's a nice set of hints for you. Okay, for part A, find the exact area of one base. Okay, the area of one base is going to be exactly 294 radical 3 inches squared. All right, take a look. Your work is shown here. If you did get this wrong, again, guys, don't get discouraged. All right, make sure you're showing your work. All right, we're going to submit all of your calculations later on. Could help your grade. All right, let's keep it going, though. So that is one capital B. That's one base area. Part B, find the exact total surface area. Now we have 1B. Let's remember that your formula is going to be surface area equals LA plus 2 capital B's. All right, good luck. Find the exact total surface area. No decimals. Keep it exact. Okay, so our surface area is a funky little equation here, expression here. It's actually going to be 4,200 plus 588 radical 3 inches squared. But let's go in pieces here, right? Your lateral area is going to be found by taking the perimeter of the base times the height. Guys, again, just make sure you're using your formula sheet. That's going to give us the 4,200. And then from the previous question, we had two bases, right? Well, one base was 294 radical 3. Two of them will be 588 radical 3. And let's remember, we cannot add these two together. They're not like terms. All right, so finally, let's get to part C. Find the exact total volume of the prism. The total volume of the prism is going to be found by using the formula capital BH. We know that one base area is 294 radical 3. The prism is 50 tall. Your final volume will be 14,700 radical 3 inches cubed. Okay, guys, this brings us to our last question for the quiz, number 5. The solid at the right is a right, regular, pentagonal prism. Right, so we have 5 sides on a base. Stand straight up. The bases are perfect, and the bases have 5 sides. The prism is 40 centimeters tall. So let's go mark that. Okay, there's your 40 centimeters. Okay. It's 40 centimeters tall, and each base has a perimeter of 55 centimeters. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so this base perimeter is 55. So 55 divided by 5 will give us 11 all the way around. Now, I'm going to give you a little hint here to help you out finding the area of one base. Now, let's zoom in here. Okay, let's mark a couple things down. But basically, we're going to take the same approach as number 4. You're going to have one triangle here, and in order to find the entire area, we'll find the area of this triangle times 5. Now, as a hint, this is 108 degrees. So is this. So is all of this. But what would this be? That's going to be 54 degrees, 54 degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a special right triangle. It's not an equilateral triangle, so we're going to need to use some trigonometry. Hint, hint. Okay? So maybe you're looking from here, and we're looking for the height of the triangle. But remember, we knew that each side was 11. But by the time we get to the bottom, you're going to have half, or 11 split up or bisected into 5.5. So ladies and gentlemen, there's my hint. What you're going to do is use some trigonometry, and then you're going to find the area of the full pentagon, right? One base, okay? So as a hint, here we go. You're going to have 5 times 1/2 little bh. Good luck. Find the area of one pentagon. Okay, so we end up using the tangent function, right? Tangent of 54 equals x over 5.5. All right, so check your work out. You can hit pause as usual, right? But we find out that the area of one base is roughly 208.18 centimeters squared. All right, we're on to the next part. Part B here, right? And remember, guys, just fix this if you got it wrong. It's okay. Don't get discouraged. Part B says to find the lateral area. Good luck. The lateral area is found using the formula LA equals PH. Perimeter of the base is 55. The prism is 40 centimeters tall. Multiply it out, and you get 2,200 centimeters squared. All right, last 2 questions for the quiz, guys. Stay strong, all right? Find the surface area of the whole prism. The surface area of the whole prism is going to be found using the lateral area, which we just found was 2,200, right? You should be fixing your work. And then it's going to use 2 bases, 2 208.18s. So your total surface area will be 2,616.36 centimeters squared. All right, our last question for the quiz, guys. Let's stay strong here. Please find the volume of this entire prism. Okay, boys and girls, the volume will be found using the formula. V equals capital BH. Area of the base was 208.18. The height of the prism was 40. We multiply that, and we find our volume to be 8,327.2, or anything close to that rounding. All right, so we've done it. We've answered the 5 questions. Now here's what you have left to do. Please watch this Edpuzzle video until the very end. It will automatically be submitted. Secondly, you're going to save and submit your PDF or paper, if you want to take pictures, on Google Classroom in the quiz posting. All righty? So watch the video till the end. Post your written work on Google Classroom. And that's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. There's no homework. Enjoy your weekend.